Tell me, what do you see when you're looking at me? Whoa, whoa, whoa. On a mission to be what I'm destined to be. Whoa, whoa, hey, whoa. I done been through the pain and the sorrow, the struggle is nothing but love. Nothing but love. I'm a soldier, a rider, a ghetto survivor, and all the above. Hey, all the above.
All right. Hey, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Coach Steve and Coach Joel here with another one of our video casts, and we're very pleased to have four of our former players with us today: Heather, Mackenzie, Maggie, and Erin. How you doing, ladies? You good?
Good, how are you?
Good.
How are you?
Fantastic. Well, very quickly before we get going, because we want to say it, we hope everyone out there is well during this time. Everyone is doing their quarantining right, and everyone is keeping healthy. And a big shout out to all the teachers and medical workers and everyone in those industries. But what we're going to do here is we're going to find out a little bit more about the four young ladies we have on the call, about their soccer careers. And for those that don't know, I believe all four of you girls, right, you started in our League One program, probably, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the League One program, and eventually playing all the way through with Shelton FC. I know Erin had a year out, but then she came back, but it's all good. And then, and then all the way through to our senior years at high school, where you obviously won the SECs together and the State Cup with Shelton FC as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So for any of our young soccer players out there, especially our younger girls teams, what they're looking at right now is four players who played all the way through and had a lot of success. And even though none of you play soccer at college, I know you all could have comfortably played soccer at college. But again, maybe I know the biggest goal for you guys were probably to play in high school and then go and enjoy life and do all your academic stuff from there. But here's what we'll do, girls. We'll start it off with a little bit of, we'll go down memory lane and we'll find out why you started playing soccer, or when you remember it back in League One. Any coaches you maybe remember. I'm sure Brendan was probably there when you all started playing in League One. We'll give Brendan a shout out as well, and he'll like that because I think he listens to this. And I know, and then we'll go from there. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, so my first question is, girls, were you all on the same team when you started at League One, or were you on different teams? Like, we have loads of teams. Were any of you on the same team?
Yeah.
Ken's. My first ever team I was with Ken's.
Yeah, me and Maggie were together.
And me and Heather were together.
Oh, nice. I like that. So my next question is, can you remember the first time your two teams played against each other at League One? We're talking like you're 4 or 5 years old then.
I wouldn't say League One rec, but I remember our first year travel together. So U9.
U9. I like that.
Oh yeah, that was a huge rivalry.
Yeah, it was a huge game.
So you was on different teams.
That was in separate teams.
Me, Kenzie, and Heather were on the Warriors, and Maggie was on the
Panthers.
We beat their other one.
We
beat
Maggie.
Yeah, we beat them.
Well, I know up until we went to full field, we always had two teams at your age groups. We had a lot of players, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. It's a good thing. All right. So we'll start with you, Mackenzie. What made you start playing soccer? And I know you've got older brothers and sisters who played. In fact, we all have older brothers and sisters. Or Heather, you're the oldest, right? Or you've got an older brother. So
I have an older brother.
Older brother, yeah. So, but he didn't play soccer, right? Or was he? Did he play soccer?
Then he quit.
No. Okay. So, all right. So let's start with you, Mackenzie. When did you start playing? Obviously in League One, and what can you remember about it?
Honestly, I remember practically living at Capewell. Capewell was like my second home, like running to the stand and like just everywhere, because Joey and Michaela both played, and my mom was travel director, so like I was there all the time. And I remember going to Capewell and East Village for League One games, and just like those little rugrats just like running around, like. So those were that's pretty much why I started. But I've been like obsessed. I was obsessed with soccer ever since.
Awesome, and they're still like that at League One, running around everywhere. It's good fun. It's good fun. Awesome, and I think we've all lived at Capewell at some stage. I know that's where I spend most of my life. So, all right, how about you, Erin?
Well, my brother started playing, so I kind of got roped into it.
Yeah.
And then my dad became the coach. I'm pretty sure Heather and I were on Germany, the team, and he was the coach from Mr. Garrett.
Nice. Nice.
And so pretty much after that, it was like, all right, I like this. And like, I'm pretty sure all of us were there when we got the bricks for Capewell.
Yeah.
Oh, that was during your time as young.
That was our time.
Yeah, I know some of you, maybe all of you, have your names on bricks, right?
I think
Or
we
your
all do.
family's names.
Yeah.
A few of you do.
Nope.
No,
Oh,
no. So Heather, there's still time. There's still some spare bricks. We can get someone there.
Yeah,
Nice.
Heather Garrett, legend.
How about you, Maggie?
Well, yeah, my sister and brother. I feel like when you're all little kids, soccer is one of like the first sports that kind of everyone tries, and then it's up to you whether you want to keep doing it, or a lot of people drop out at rec. But I know my sister went through the whole program, and my brother eventually stopped. But
Yeah.
I had my sister go through the whole program, and then, like I said, I started at 5, like with Ken's, my first team.
Yeah.
And then, yeah,
Did
I
your
kinda-
dad's coach as well? I'm sure they did, right?
It was Mr. Johnson. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but it was.
Oh,
the
yeah.
I don't
My
know.
dad coached
Johnson.
Michaela. Like, he never coached me until he was with you. So, like,
Got it. Gotcha. All right. And then how about you, Heather?
Well, so my parents forced my brother to do soccer, but then he didn't like it. So I was like the only one that really liked soccer. And then I started off by Mr. Curie and my dad coaching Erin and I. And that was like the first time I've ever played. And then, yeah, that's basically that was
Awesome. And can any of you remember back in League One, were you into it, or was you kind of just there? Like,
I was
like,
Oh, I was into it.
I was
It wasn't a lose game. It was winning.
That's
only.
true.
yeah.
At that point, did you imagine yourselves winning the SCCs?
And no,
Yeah.
it was.
Never had that
a
thought
lot
that
of
you're going to
work.
go that far.
Yeah.
I just actually opened my dad has a bunch of home videos, and there's actually a video of me and Ken's. It's like it's League One. We're at East Village, and I think either me or Kenzie scored, and me and her run up to each other and give each other a big hug.
Nice.
So,
You'll have to send that to me so I can put it on the highlight reel before
I'll
put this
try
out
to find it. Some things don't change. We still
Yeah.
did that when we played and actually liked each other.
there. So you became friends as you got older.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There you go. Well,
maybe not in the field, but I'm just
that's
kidding.
all right. Hey,
we're never friends on the field, like, even now. But, like,
Yeah.
outside of soccer, we love each other.
you don't have to be friends with your teammates as long as you respect each other on the field. That's all that matters. Obviously, it's even better if you are friends. But yeah, League One for me is the most important part of our program. Like, just because it's when kids start playing soccer, and there's a lot of kids that start at age 4 or 5, and they're maybe not quite ready for it, but they can still come back to it when they're 6 or 7. It's I think nobody knows how good a player is going to be at that age. So as long as they're out there enjoying it, having fun, that's the most important bit. But all right, so we'll move that on a little bit, because obviously you went through League One and League Two, but we'll go now to. Was there anything you can remember from that young age, like practices, like, anything that stood out, like any games you did? And again, like, that might be where someone like Brendan did something in a practice or something like that. Is there anything that really inspired you that you remember when you were that age?
Well, I
Go
remember,
first, Ed.
So I remember when it was like Kenzie and I went to try out for Beachside, but then that team kind of fell through, and then you kind of brought us all like together, and we like formed a brand new team. Like, we were so young, and at first we weren't that good, but then that team like took us, and then we won the state champs.
Yes, we did. Well, yeah. So that I remember that. I was what, U11 or U12?
Yeah, you were very patient with us. You were a really good
Very,
coach.
it was good fun. It was good.
You built us.
Huh?
You built us up.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we almost didn't have a team. That's why we had like, we thought we had to leave, and then all of a sudden it just worked out.
I think that was my first. I think that was my first season. I think that was my first year back in 2012.
Yeah.
The spring of 2012. Because that was. I think you girls were the guinea pigs of us going Premier or whatever it's called. Before then, Premier didn't really exist as it did now. I think you guys and the boys team as well at that age were the guinea pigs for those age groups, and it proved to be a big success, as we've seen with all the teams that followed on from you guys from then. So it's all good. What about you, Mags? Anything from any age younger, like what can you remember from those younger ages? Yeah.
Well, all I remember before you came, so it's kind of more Brendan. Friday nights 3v3s at either East Village or Nike set. Our 3v3 practices were pretty intense. We'd get so like all ages would come, and it would just be all these mini 3v3 games going around. And I remember Brendan would be running around and taking down scores and moving people here and here. And I remember Friday nights.
I remember that.
I like those. 3v3s were awesome. And then what I found now as we're, we time lapse or 8 years ahead is it's tough to get players to buy into that as much now because they have so many other commitments with other sports or other family commitments. Just I guess the way the world has evolved. But I agree, Maggie. I think that was free because I remember when I first came out here doing it with Brendan, and 3v3s were really good on a Friday evening. Just
3v3s and foot skills.
Yeah.
I remember Brendan all yelling at us.
Yeah.
Teaching scissors and the pullbacks when we were probably 10 years old, 10 or 12, 11 years old.
That's what Brendan. I think Brendan introduced that to the program. Must have been in about 2008, and I think it was definitely a good introduction, one that we still do. And again, like I'm sure back was then, it was you either get 100 kids show up or you get 10 kids show up. You never know week to week, but it's all good. I like that. All right, what about you, Erin?
Probably our U9 team. Because that's when like we actually understood soccer, and Kenzie and I were captains together. Yeah. And so it kind of translated to senior year when we're captains. Yeah. So that was like a huge moment, I think, that made me really, really enjoy it. I
like that. You guys did a good job at that as well. And how about you, Kenz?
Oh God, they also good ones. Yeah, I mean, honestly, U9 was pretty much like when everything started getting more like, I really like understood how much I enjoyed playing soccer. Really like, I mean, I think the fun aspect of soccer really started with like, obviously like League 1, League 2, but even those soccer camps, like going to soccer camp in the summer was like the highlight. That made me like love soccer, just how much fun it can be, even if you're not in a game. But yeah, U9 definitely was like the beginning of the end for me. Like that's how I just like went off.
Yeah, awesome. No, it was. Again, probably, it's funny you say about summer camps, Ken, because probably when you guys were younger, again, when you know, how old are you girls now?
19.
19. So again, when you were probably 9, 10, 11, almost like around 10 years ago, those camps then, big community camps, were really big and they were great. The problem is now, this day and age, is there's so many camps and they're all geared towards this, that, and the other in the soccer industry. So you don't get as many of those camps anymore, which is a shame. They're not. You probably used to get 200 kids go to those camps and they were good fun. But they were. That's a great one. I like that. All right, so what we'll do is then from there, and again, if you remember anything during this, girls, you can dive in at any time if you remember anything, or if there's something you want to bring up. So obviously you went through your so you can say for any younger players, this is where you're going to give a bit of advice, and we'll do a few of these pieces as we go through this. For any players who are ages, let's say ages 4 to 8, what do you think those players should focus on the most as a player? So it might be like, you only need to, just worry about being good at dribbling with a ball or just enjoying it, whatever, anything you can think of. That might be good because it will be interesting because I know it's changed. Definitely a parent's perception has changed a lot since you were that age, if that makes sense. But who wants to go first?
I don't know. You want to go? I'll go first. Or you want to go?
No, it looked like you wanted to go. You go.
I'll go. I don't know. So, Steve, remember when you always said like fundamentals or like basics of soccer? I feel like foot skills and like literally passing the ball. Like if you just get the fundamentals of soccer, I feel like you can grow off that.
I agree, especially as you get older. It's almost you need to be able to walk before you can run, right? Okay. The problem is the difference is now is younger age. A perception is they want 4 and 5-year-olds to be able to keep their shape and keep scores, which obviously is not very doable at a younger age. But that's just how it's changed. But whereas when you were that age, like you said, everything was focused on fundamentals, and that's what helps you to be better players when you're older. And that still is the right pathway, but it's a lot tougher to sell that pathway now, just in the way the industry is. But you're spot on there, Heather. What about you, Kenz?
Honestly, I totally agree with her about the fundamentals. But one big thing I think that really helped us be like the team we were, even in the end, like we were so focused on just our team atmosphere and just working, like being a team, working together. Like we were so close and we made sure it was fun, like no matter what. Now we were enjoying it. If you're not enjoying soccer when you're 8 or 9 years old, you're never going to enjoy it. You need to like try like make the best of it and like try to learn as much as you can, like the fundamentals right from the beginning, but just make sure you're enjoying it. I think when it's definitely, even at a younger age now, I think people are starting to get too serious about it. They're trying to make these little kids become these like Olympians at soccer, when from the beginning you just have to learn to enjoy it, and then you grow as a soccer player. It's like once you learn the beginning and the basics, it just goes on from there. We don't have to like start like hit the ground running right from the beginning.
You know what? It's a great point there, Kenz. And actually, Coach Joel coaches our U10 girls team right now in the program. We're blessed. We have 2 U10 teams, and they're both very good. But I think Coach Joel will agree. Both teams have a great team atmosphere. Coach Amy coaches the other team, and both teams have a really good team atmosphere. To your point, and like I said,
I would say I see that more in the girls' teams than the boys' teams.
Yeah, well, they have those good atmospheres, definitely. And look, but like you said, if that team atmosphere, you know, as long as you've got the right coaching and the players are doing the right things, that will get them to success. And like you said, Ken, they don't need to worry at those ages about them playing at the highest level they possibly can, because at 9, 10 years old, it doesn't really matter as long as they're having fun, good atmosphere, getting good coaching, and obviously, you know, playing at a reasonably good level. So I like that. What about you, Mags?
Well, going back to like, I would say like the youngest age, so League One, like you said, although they're so little and they're all just kind of going after the ball, and this one's trying to score, and this one wants to score the most goals. So I think the biggest thing to understand is there's more than just one player on the field. Even though all the little kids want to have all the goals and want to do all the work, they got to know that they have other teammates around. Yeah,
I agree. Well, that's the same in anything, right? Not just soccer. So, you know, when you're in school, all that kind of stuff, obviously you want, I guess, people to share with regards to the soccer ball as well. It's good. Obviously, we encourage players, right, to express themselves and dribble, but obviously, like you said, you want to make sure they incorporate their teammates, because especially at those younger ages, I'm sure you girls were like this. Again, I wasn't around when you girls were that young, but I'm sure there were players where you get one player who's awesome and can take on everyone, and then other players that aren't quite there yet, and that's just because of their age and, you know, the way people mature and develop, right? So, but how about you, Erin?
I think like a huge thing is to be like friends with your teammates. Like if all your friends aren't playing soccer, then you're probably not going to play soccer at that young age.
Yeah.
But since like I made so many friends playing soccer, it was like pretty much like, okay, I'm having fun playing with my friends, and like everyone's getting like, I think a huge thing is positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
So like not that much like screaming, yelling. They don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think like if you like give them positive reinforcement, they're going to want to keep playing and get better.
I agree, Erin. And that's, like I said, to your point about, you know, enjoying it with your teammates. Again, you girls have been blessed. I know probably when you started playing soccer, there was maybe 20 of your age group. And obviously, naturally, as you get older, that pool of players gets a bit smaller, because some people go into other sports. You know, some people focus more on other things. But you still had quite a lot of your age group still playing soccer, whether it was at Shelton High or whether, you know, wherever it was. And obviously, I think how many seniors did we have in your senior class? Was there 7 or 8 of you? 9?
7.
8, yeah, and that's a good number. And obviously you had other girls at other high schools as well during that. So it's good times. Awesome. So some good advice there for some of our younger players. I like that. And like I said, we're in Shelton right now. We have some really good younger girls teams, so it's good for them to hear that. All right, so here's what we'll go a little bit further along now, and we won't jump right into the high school stuff just yet. We'll stay with the youngerish stuff. But can you, as you started to recognise the game a little bit more, and I know what positions you guys played, and I know some of you changed positions slightly, but when you were younger, let's say going into travel, U9, U10, what position or what type of player did you see yourself as? You know, like position and attributes that you thought you brought to the field. Again, I'll throw in my opinions as well, because obviously I've seen you all play, and Coach Joe I think has done a fair few times as well. So we'll start with you, Mackenzie.
Honestly, like I think I was like born to attack.
Yeah.
like just like in other sports, I'm pretty defensive, but I just like going, like the end result is like, I don't know. I just like to just like get the ball, distribute it to people just so the end result can happen. I feel like when I'm like, I don't know, I can't really explain it. I feel like I like to be in the top where like when the action's going on, even though in defense, it's like totally different type of action. So I don't know. You may be able to explain it better, but
yeah, no, I agree there, Mackenzie. Like I said, the best way I could describe you is you're you're very unselfish. Even though you scored a lot of goals, you're very unselfish as a player. And what I mean by that is, especially again, whether you played as a centre forward, I know sometimes you drop back and play in midfield, but generally you always played as a number 9, right? You did a great job at doing all of the dirty work. What I mean by that is taking care of. The other team have 2 central defenders. You did an awesome job at taking care of both of them, and it allowed a lot of other players to run into those spaces and get a lot of goals as well. And obviously, those players are using their attributes on there, and you did an awesome job at doing that, Mackenzie. Like I said,
I'm definitely a dirty work kind of player. I do the dirty work in basketball too. Like I don't know why.
Hey, it's good. A lot of coaches they like having a number 9 like that. If you look at a lot of professional teams, male and female teams, a lot of coaches like to play with a striker like that because it frees up a lot of space for wide players or whatever to come through. But I agree with that, Mackenzie. I agree. All right, we'll go down to Maggie.
Well, honestly, I guess I've played midfield all my life, and I think that's because I just like being everywhere. I know when you're a defender, you can only go up so far when the ball's on the other half, and you kind of have to sit on the line, and then that's the same thing for the forward when the ball's on the other half and your defenders are doing the work.
Yeah.
I didn't really just I liked being everywhere, and I liked always running around, being on the move, even though you are in the move when the ball's on the opposite side. It was more, I just like being all around and always being in the action.
Yeah, I agree with that. I remember there was a couple of games, Maggie, where we played you at centre-back at U12.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you did a good job back there, Maggie. But I agree. I think if I was to give you my feedback, Maggie, I think you were a very creative player, and you again, you'd always find a moment of magic in a game. Even if you were having a poor game, you'd have a moment where you'd create a goal or score a goal. I think that's in the position you played, that always made you a very valuable player on the field. I think that's a good thing, very good thing to have.
Even if I was on forward, I was always getting told to stay up, and I was getting yelled at because I was going back too far. And the same thing for defense, I was getting yelled because I was going up too far. So I think midfield was the perfect fit.
I agree, Maggie. All right, we'll go to you, Erin.
Well, ever since I was little, I loved defense. I don't really know why. Like, I loved scoring, but like, I don't know. I just didn't want to rely on someone else to save the goal. Like, I wanted to be the one to do it. Yeah. And then, like, as I got older, I just like to see the whole field, and like, I kind of understood what everyone was supposed to do. So I just liked, like, Kenzie could score, but I would be the one like making sure that it doesn't happen to us, and it was kind of like a tag team thing. Yeah. But
I like that. You know what? It's good because naturally, especially at a younger age, as we already said, everyone wants to score goals, and at some stage in your career, any player, you become more of a defender. Now, whether that's you wanted to or a coach putting you there because you have the right attributes, but I definitely agree with that, Erin. You obviously have, as you all do, have attributes to play in other positions as well, but naturally you seem to fit that position. You know, like you said, covering people, winning tackles, coming up for corners though. When we have corners, I know you scored a fair few headers, from attacking corners, which is always, and free kicks. But yeah, I agree, and that definitely is a position where you excelled in. That's for sure. And again, I only started coaching you, and what are you 13, right? So I never coached you on the smaller field. Where my guess is, Erin, on a smaller field, 9v9 or 7v7, you probably would have been a centre midfield player. I don't know, I can't remember, but I know if I was coaching,
I went up a lot.
Yeah. So.
But then I would have to run all the way back because I didn't trust anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all of you were very good at recovering back and defending, in those positions. But what about you, Heather? And I know, Heather, you probably had the biggest position change from club when you went and then to go into high school, right? Which in terms of position? Because I know at club you played in a different position to what you played at high school, right? For the most
Yeah, I
part.
was like, I was a midfielder, but I was more of like the defensive side. And then when I went to high school, I was not as good at that position. But then I turned into like a defender with Erin. Like I was more back, like always chasing the ball, like sprinting back to like recover. And I feel like that position more like changed because of the player I like changed into. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was more defensive minded as I was like older.
You definitely were more defensive minded, Heather. I think it was very, as me and Coach Joel would call him in the soccer industry, a holding midfield player. You did an awesome job at that, and it's a very underrated position, but it's a very important position because, again, similar to Mackenzie up top, you do a lot of the dirty work, but sometimes it can go unnoticed. And I think actually when you moved to become a central defender at high school, you got a lot more credit for all of that work you did defensively. And I think that's good. I think you and Erin definitely had a good partnership back there at high school. I mean, you won the SECs together, so all good, right? But that's very, very interesting. It's good. And again, I know you've all played on lots of different positions, throughout your career. But I know most of you generally played in similar positions. All right. So here's another question for you ladies. What type of coaching? So whether it be someone motivating you, someone maybe telling you nicely, like putting an arm around your shoulder and saying, "Oh, you're doing this great, you can do this," or someone just, like I said, shouting and screaming or whatever. What type of coaching trait do you think got the best out of you as a player? Maybe there was a mixture. Okay, maybe there were certain times where it worked better for you. So, and again, I know I probably coached each of you differently. The way I knew to get the best out of you sometimes, because you're all different people, in terms of how you see the game emotionally, as every player is. So let's start with you, Erin.
Well, I don't really remember that much of coaching when I was little. Like, it was mostly just like positive, but the coaches, like my dad didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
He was just trying to like help me out.
What about
when I went to CFC, it was like, when I went to CFC, it was like way more yelling and like, you need to do this now and you're like a bad player if you don't. And I was like, I don't like this at all. And then when I came back, like you, Miller, Joe, like kind of understood that like I like knew what I did wrong and you didn't need to like scream at me for it. You just needed to like be like, okay, Erin, this is what you did. Good job, but like do better.
No,
I'm more of like a positive person than like anything.
I think that's right, Erin. I know for me, you're because even though you're a leader in how you play, you're quite quiet sometimes, right, Erin? You do talk on the field, but you're generally a quieter person on the field. But you do all your talking with your soccer playing. I think that's, as a coach, definitely for you to excel. I know, obviously, there always has to be moments where you have to be tough on a player, but for you, like you said, more positive praise, definitely. Because I think it had to be very simple, and you went and did it straight away. That was it.
Yeah, I think I had like a high like standard for myself, so like I was already yelling at myself and didn't need like a bunch of people yelling at me for it.
I think that's, again, a very simple instruction. You knew exactly what to do and it was done. I think that was the best. Like I said, some players need more complex instructions so they understand it. I think, like I said, with you, one instruction, you understood, did it, got on with it. I think that's spot on. All right, how about you, Heather?
I feel like I'm more of a type of player that like needs to be yelled at. I don't know why, but as soon as I'm yelled at, I just like oh no, I need to do better, and like that kind of lights a fire.
That's so true.
I'll be honest, Heather. I can't. Me personally, I can't ever really remember being too tough on you as a coach. Maybe a couple of times. Like I said, for me, you always did the job consistently. Like I said, because of the positions you played, you have to be consistent, especially and that's just how you. But I agree. There's definitely. I definitely remember Coach Joe. Probably Coach Mackenzie's Coach Joe, Coach Joyce. Definitely would have got on you a little bit more, and I think we had a good balance with that between me and Coach Joe back then.
Did you feel like you needed that when you were younger as well?
Yeah, I think so. Like if I was not having a good game, I don't know, just if someone's yelling at me, then
I yelled at you.
yeah. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's like it's not only on me, it's on everyone else.
Yeah.
Like I'm affecting the team.
Or
So if the player yelled at you as well, would you still have the same reaction?
Oh yeah, Erin yelled at me.
yeah.
I'd be like, I gotta get my stuff together.
Well, if I remember, Heather, and it's a good thing, you were quite an emotional player at times. Because I remember even when you got your first yellow card, away at Darien at like U13,
Don't talk about
it was upsetting, right? And but it's a good thing, and I think that's I know, and I think that's why I know for me as a coach, I never really said too much to you while you were playing. It was just a simple instruction, and you did it, and I think that's a good thing. I think every player is emotional at some stage, boys and girls when they play. And me as a player, when I was younger, I was very emotional when I played. I used to get very not so much now when I play, but it's all good. All right, Maggie, how about you?
I think I'm more like Erin, but also I feel like I'm a mix because when I was on the field, I would always have you'd be on the sideline yelling, but to me, I'm kind of just focused on the game. So I prefer if something needs to be told me, I prefer to get taken out, get told what needs to be done, and then get put back in because I feel like for any coach I've had, when they're yelling for me from the sideline, I kind of just goes in one ear and out the other. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. But for me, being taken out and then getting put back in after being told what to do helps.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, Maggie, because I think if you see, and again, I'm sure this has been going on for years, but especially on the younger ages, you get you've got, let's say, a U10 girls game, U9 girls, they're playing and they're getting all these instructions, not just from their coach, but from parents on the sideline. And like you said, just be honest, their players just need to focus on playing. Otherwise, it just becomes a distraction. And like I said, it's either got to be a simple guidance or, like you said, being brought out, instruction, go back on. I think even me as a coach, I've definitely adapted that way. When I was, me and Joel have spoke about this before, when I was in my younger days of coaching, I used to like to commentate and talk everyone through the game, and I thought that was a good thing to do. And it might be for some players, but in reality it's not, because you're giving them too much information. And I know as I've got older, I like to pull players out and speak to them individually and then go back and do it. So it's a good one there, Maggie. How about you, Mackenzie?
I feel like I've had such a variety of coaches. I've been barked at. I've been my dad, Coach Marty, they used to scream at us. But then we went to you, who was really technical, and you would just like you said, you would pull us out, tell us what to do. But I think I'm pretty emotional on the field too. It got less when I got older. I think I was more composed, but I used to be extremely emotional. You guys all probably remember that. But I do think shout out Allie Bose, right when she started teaching me the fundamentals of shooting and being a forward, that was when I started going. I don't know, there's a lot of little mechanics to being a forward, I think, and especially by the way I played it. And Coach Joe also, and you guys, I need to see the technical side. Once someone tells me a specific thing to do, or really pulls me out of the field, shows me something, I will implement it into the game. And I think that kind of stuff really changed my game for me as I grew, because I finally started to understand the things I had to do. But because I think I've been stronger from being yelled at, but then in the end, that's the kind of coaching that really helped me.
Yeah, I agree. And it's actually it's Dr. Ali Bowles now. She's a doctor now, right?
I knew that.
In terms, she's very, very clever. She does. I think she's a college lecturer now for something in the sports industry. So
yeah, you're right.
We'll give her a shout out. You know what? That she might be a great guest to come on, Joel. She might be a great guest to come on. I'll ask her. I'll reach out to her. All right. So, but no, it's good. So, you know what? We've mentioned about it there, girls, and like we said about emotions in a game and stuff like that. Do you think, as you got older, you learned to control your emotions during the game, or do you think you got even more emotional as you got older in the game? And again, this is the same for boys and girls players. Again, it affects every player differently, regardless of gender. But what do you think, Kenz? We'll start with you.
Oh, I totally mellowed out in the end. I used to scream and yell. I used to cheer for my teammates so loud to get the other team mad, because I used to be so emotional. But in senior year, I totally mellowed out and just focused on my own game. I feel it comes with maturity too. Once you get older, you really learn to this is your game. You're not
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Maggie?
Well, I think you know what my biggest emotion was when I would sulk.
Yeah.
And I think I'd beat myself up about it. And then you would come over and tell me not to sulk, and then you'd get mad at me, and then I'd have to turn it around. But I think, yeah, you sometimes when you're emotional like that, you let it get the best of you. And I think as I grew, I learned how to face it and how to avoid that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Like I said, when I played, I was a sulker as well, Maggie. When I used to play, when I used to be younger, that's how I was. So I knew as I got. That's why, especially with you on that, Maggie, when you did that. And I guess I know we'll use the term. We won't use the term sulk, but we'll use the term used to get frustrated at ourselves, right? That's again, or with other people. So and I think that's you definitely overcame that as you got older. That's for sure. But again, when you care about the game, it's okay to be frustrated or have a little sulk, I think. Yeah. How about you, Erin?
When I was younger, I definitely would like cry after games, and like if someone yelled at me, I would just cry. It was weird, and I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But like I'll get like mad, I'll get mad, but at some points I'll get like too frustrated with people. But like I don't really realize that. But Maggie will like just say my name during a game, and like I'll just look at her and be like, okay, like self-check, I'm being too mean, and like move on.
Like I said, it's. I think as you got older, Erin, though, you learn, like you said, you learn how to approach players differently to give them that constructive feedback, right?
Definitely.
That's a good thing. When you're younger, sometimes it just comes out, right? And because you haven't learned how to deal with those traits. I think that's a good one. All right, Heather, what about you?
I definitely became a less emotional player because I feel like when I was younger, I don't know, I would cry a lot when I would get hurt, like if someone just tapped me. But now, like in high school, I feel like if I got yelled at or something, I would kind of like realize like, okay, I need to work on myself, and like I'm affecting the team, and I can't let myself like get down because we still have a whole nother half to go. Like you can't just stop the game of play based on your emotions. You kind of have to grow from that and that maturity, like Kenzie said.
All right, so Heather, it's fun. So you mentioned that a trip down memory lane here. I remember. So I know I've already brought up your first yellow card, but I remember our first ever game at U12. So it would have been the full season of U12, 11v11. Never played 11v11 game before. We had our first league game, and I didn't really know you girls yet. But in my head, myself and Coach Joe, we'd built the team, had it set out, and I know Erin, you weren't on the team this season, but I know you three girls were, and we had Mackenzie at striker, and we were playing a 4-2-3-1, and in the two in the midfield, Heather and Maggie were the two. And I remember right as the game was going to start, you got stung by a bee.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah. And I never forget.
I remember this so clearly.
Yeah, and I remember you had to obviously come off and you couldn't start the game, and it threw me and Coach Joe for a loop because we were like,
so funny.
Crap, what do we do now? We've got to change everything. And luckily, Mr. Garrett came round and he managed to sort you out, and you were back on the field within 5-10 minutes.
I feel like I was watching that game from the sideline.
Yeah. I think you were. I think you were.
I went to like every game, and I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. The thing is, I remember. But the reason why I bring it up, so I remember you weren't upset about getting stung. You were upset because you had to miss. You couldn't be on the field. I think obviously you were upset because you got stung, but I could tell you was upset that you weren't on the field as well because we'd done all that pre-season. And I think it is, but it's a funny story. How about you, Coach Joe? Any pre-game injuries from any of your teams?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that anyway.
Nothing like that. Yeah, I remember it. We have some funny pre-game stories. We'll get to my injury later on as they got older. All right. So here's what we're going to do quickly, girls, and then what we'll do is, I've been given unlimited minutes now. I just got a little pop-up that said we've got unlimited minutes. So we're going to do another little bit, and then we'll imagine that's the end of part 2. But we can stay on here, and then we'll do it. So I know all of your parents, all right, and they're all great people. They all supported you through your soccer career and our program. They're all lovely people. I've got a lot of time for your family. But we'll talk about them a little bit. Obviously, I want you guys to tell us like how your parents inspired you or supported you to play soccer, but also I want you to call them out on it a little bit, but be nice still. How were the car journeys after games with your parents? All right, and did it work for you or not? All right, so that makes sense. Okay, you can be as nice or not. But like I said, I wanted to be clear again. I know your parents and they're all lovely people. So, how did they support you? But also, how were those car journeys? Again, you might have had a parent that didn't say anything to you, or very supportive, or told you exactly what you did wrong. I don't know. Everyone's different. So we'll start with you, Mackenzie. As obviously your dad obviously coaching me, and your mum was obviously very heavily involved in the program as well.
Oh yeah, on the drive home were the tough ones. My dad, if I had, they would always say oh, you played one game, Miss Garrett. I walked to the field and Miss Garrett was like, honey, you played great. And my mom was like, no, she didn't. Out loud for everyone to hear. My parents did not care if they thought I played bad and everybody knew it. They gave me tough love, but I really think it really helped me because I pretty much own up to every mistake I make now on the field. I would know when I messed up. But yeah, the drive homes were tough. If I had a bad game, they just coached me the whole ride home thinking they knew everything.
Yeah.
And the ride there, every game my mom would be like, play hard, have fun. Every single game, she said that. And
I think I remember your mum saying that. She used to say it before at the start of every game. Yeah.
Yeah. She would just say it to me. She was trying to the cheesy side, but they each they gave me some tough love, I think. They were tough on me about it, but it really helped me. I think it made me be the tough player I was in the end.
Agree. They definitely did it in a supporting way. I know I saw that firsthand. That's good. Good for them. All right, how about let's go to Erin.
Well, both my parents had no idea what they were doing. They just wanted me to have fun and everything. So before every game till my senior year, my mom would just say don't get hurt, have fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then my dad became the coach because he wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
And he was fine. He would yell at us. He would he learned the game eventually. Senior year, he would know what's going on. But the after car rides was definitely really hard. After CFC because everyone, the parents there was serious. It was crazy. So he became oh, I need to be like this.
Yeah.
And I just did not respond well to getting screamed at by someone. And so as we got older, they just knew I was doing my best and everything, and they would just say you did great today, all this stuff, and knew they drove me to every single game possible. So they were always there.
I agree. I like that. Like I said, very, very similar. I think even your parents as well, and again, like everyone's parents, are always vocal at some point, but they were very supportive as well. I think that's a good thing.
Cared.
Yes.
It came from someplace good.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Heather, how about yourself?
I feel like my parents, they never yelled at me about soccer. One time my mom asked me what side offsides was, she was in high school. But I don't know, they were always there to support me. If I was having a bad game or after I'd get in the car and just cry, my mom would be like, it's okay, you have the next game, just prove people, just prove yourself that you can do it. And my parents would, I can't remember, they drove me everywhere to every practice.
They did. And I think all your parents drove you guys everywhere, right? Yeah.
Carpool.
Everywhere. We were carpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Also, again, Heather, I know both your parents very supportive as well. I think that's a good thing. I know they were definitely a big part of your soccer journey. All right, Maggie, how about you?
Well, honestly, I think all our parents each had our own effect on us because since, like I said, since U11, we all were so close. So every away game, we had one parent. So one away game, I'll have Erin's dad saying, I need to do this. I need to score this many goals for him, and I need to go out there and play tough.
It would be on you.
Then the next away game, I'll have Kenzie's mom saying, you guys all need to work together. You guys all need to play together. You guys all got this. Then the next away game, I would have Heather's mom saying, you guys are going to do great. You'll do so well. And then I have my dad, who I guess my parents cared. And after games, I mean, he'd say that either I played well or I played bad. And same with my mom. Yeah. But I don't think they were ever really tough on me. I mean, they were honest, but they didn't really get mad. And they were always there for me. And all our parents, I mean, tournaments with you, Steve, we'd spend our whole Memorial Day weekends, and my dad would take his whole golf weekend away just to come watch us play soccer. So
did well again, Maggie. Very supportive parents. I think that's a good thing. The fact that you guys had that bond where like not just you as 4 players, but your parents as well were all comfortable enough to tell, even if it's not their own child, they still saw it as you were close enough where they could still say stuff to all of you. And I think that's I know I definitely saw that as a considering you were my first ever team I coached out here. It was a great group of parents to walk into, and I think that was it definitely helped, and that continued all the way through until you left high school. So a big shout out to all your parents there. Like you said, whether it was tough love or maybe sometimes not tough enough in the soccer way, I think either way it all came from a good place. I think that's definitely a big part to why you was all successful. But how about you, Coach Joel? What was it like with your parents after the games when you played?
Well, my dad was a referee.
Oh, he was. Yeah.
So quite a lot of my games playing up, Dad was referee, I would play, so he would always give me a bit of a play-by-play incident from his standpoint as a referee.
Yes.
I remember one point should have sent me off, but didn't for like a last man challenge, and he explained in the car that his reason, which was probably a little bit biased, but yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, it was more by a standpoint as a referee standpoint with him. And then my mum, she knew the game as well, but she was just supportive. Yeah,
mine was very similar. My dad he refereed or he was either my coach for my younger days, and I think he was the same. He'd tell me how it was or whatever, but then my mum was supportive. But if it ever escalated back home where me and my dad were talking about the game or I was getting upset about it, she'd tell us to either don't play soccer if you can't enjoy it when you're at home. That's what or football as we call it. And I think even when I was playing as an adult, before I came out to America, my dad would always come watch all my games. He'd still give me my constructive feedback as well.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I missed out on though, because like on a Saturday, Dad was refereeing some games and I was playing elsewhere. So refereeing is good. You get to see a lot of part of the game. Were any of you girls referee when you were younger?
I did it for 1 year.
Yeah.
I shut up too. My mom used to beg me.
I used to call out the plays while I was playing. I'd be like, offsides.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. On the field, though, especially as a defender, you do always have to do the as long as you can make the call when you're on the field, but as long as you don't freeze, because if the referee doesn't give it, you might play him on side.
Erin used to call me offsides on the field.
Oh yeah, I bet Kenzie's so offsides so fast for
defense, yelling at me.
All right, so what we'll do is now we'll just pretend that's the end of part 1, and then we'll go part 2, but we're just going to go straight.
What I'm destined to be. Whoa, whoa, hey.